Welcome to or welcome back. I thought I'd do something a little bit laid back and just something a little bit super cash. Since when am I shortening down my words? I've seen this floating around everywhere for literally like the longest time, and I've always got so close to getting around to doing it myself, and I've just looked at it and thought, yeah, I'll get around to doing that, and I've just never got around to it basically. So there's 16 personalities and you take the quiz and it tells you which one you are basically. Self-explanatory. It's supposed to take less than 12 minutes, we'll see, because I'm probably going to discuss some of the answers with you guys to make it a little bit more interesting instead of me just answering them bluntly. But I'm also going to try not to waffle because I have a habit of waffling and rambling on with myself. It also says answer honestly, even if you don't like the answer. It also says try not to leave any neutral answers, which is difficult because I'm a very indecisive person, which you're about to find out, especially when it comes to answering questions about myself, because I end up having this like inner debate with myself. It's like my brutally honest voice versus like my ego. Let's get onto it. Oops. And I've not moved crap off my desk because #professional. So I'm going to record the screen just because then you guys know that I'm being honest and not chatting shit. So where is QuickTime? Because I'm using QuickTime Player on my Mac to do a screen recording. Click to record the full screen. I'll just record the full screen, why not? Bing! Is it recording? Oh, well that was easy enough. I don't know why. I thought that it was going to be difficult to record my screen, but fair enough. So here we are on 16personalities.com. Let's just jump right in. You find it difficult to introduce yourself to other people. Straight away, it depends. It completely depends on the situation, it depends on my mood, and it depends on the environment. So that's 3 important things that affect me in this particular situation. If I'm in a good mood, then I've got no trouble whatsoever, like introducing myself to somebody. If I'm not necessarily in the best of moods, then I won't be very talkative and I'd probably like stutter and ramble and forget my own name. It's not possible, but it is. Especially when like you're just full of anxiety. It's like, hey, my name's Jeff. Instead of, hey, my name's Jess. It says try not to leave any neutral answers. So I'm gonna go for this one here, basically. I'm not going to go for neutral, I'm going to say slightly disagree, because I'd say that in most situations I'm definitely comfortable enough to introduce myself, but there's been times where, you know, I've just like fucked up and felt awkward and yeah, anxiety. You often get so lost in thoughts that you ignore or forget your surroundings. Yeah, this happens quite a bit, to be fair, especially if I'm feeling quite down. But at the same time, I'm quite alert, so even though I might temporarily phase out of it, I'll still be quite alert, especially because now I've got Athena too. It's like, unless I'm not around Athena and my mind just wanders a little bit, but I tend to be on high alert most of the time because when you've got a toddler, you have to be. And even when I'm not around her, because I'm so used to being around her, I'm still sort of on high alert. Ever since I had Athena, I've become less dazed and out of it almost in a weird way. It's like kind of been a blessing. I do get so preoccupied and lost in my own thoughts and distracted by them, like so unbelievably so. But at the same time, I'm pretty good at kind of staying in reality and not drifting too far off. But at the same time, you know, I do experience this. That's why it's so difficult to answer these questions for me, because it's like blah 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 but blah 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 blah. You see, it is like quite a regular thing, so I'm gonna have to we're gonna put it there. I am trying to be quite careful with this because I'm trying to answer it as honestly as possible, and I know for a fact I could definitely get more lost in my thoughts that I ignore my surroundings than I do, so I'm gonna put it there. You try to respond to your emails as soon as possible and cannot stand a messy inbox. I cannot stand a messy inbox, but my inbox is incredibly messy. I've got lots of starred messages that I need to reply to that I haven't replied to yet, and it's just a pain in the arse. I've also got loads of drafted, half-written emails that I need to get through, so my inbox is really messy, and I do feel this overwhelming urge to go in there and sort it out. But a lot has been going on recently. I have a messy inbox, which I can't stand right now. I don't even want to look at it because it's so messy, but I do try to respond to emails as soon as possible. So I'm gonna have to pick neutral for that. But it is messy right now. I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't a mess, because it is a mess, so we're gonna go there. I'm only gonna strongly disagree or strongly agree if I genuinely do strongly disagree or agree. So if it's kind of like a mixed answer, I'm just gonna linger in the center because I think that'll give me a more honest calculation and a better representation of my personality. So, you find it easy to stay relaxed and focused even when there is some pressure? No, but at the same time, yes, it depends on my situation. Put me on a stage with a guitar and a microphone now, and I'd probably shit myself. Put me on a stage with a microphone and a guitar like years ago when I was in a band and all this stuff, and I wouldn't shit myself at all, and I would just be fine, like not give a crap. And it depends really, because I'm a performer in a way. Because of that, it's kind of like I can get myself in a certain frame of mind to kind of push myself, and it's like I have an alter ego in a weird way when I'm performing, when I'm doing anything like that. But at the same time, it's like I'm really not good in kind of situations, like say for example, if I was in an office having an interview and they put me under pressure, like I would stutter all over the place and I wouldn't feel anywhere near as confident. But if you wanted me to cover myself in paint and dance in a room full of strangers, I'd feel really comfortable doing that. I wouldn't be fazed. It's strange. I have this weird kind of ever-changing confidence, which just depends what I'm focusing on at that moment in my life and what's going on around me. It's really confusing. I'm a very complicated person. It's kind of like a bit of both. I'd say that if we look at it this way, as someone who's like, you know, I've played so many gigs, like, and so many open mics, so much stuff like that's performer-esque. It's like I can't turn around and say that I'm shy in that way. But now, after going through a lot of things, I'm a little bit more reserved. I'm not as, I don't know. It's hard to explain really. It's not like I'm not crazy anymore, because I am crazy. But at the same time, it's like I'm a much more anxious person than I used to be. So it's like if you put me in a situation where I'm with the police and I'm under a lot of pressure to, you know, not ramble, which is a situation that I was put in like a year ago. Was it a year ago or was it less than a year ago now? I think it was less than a year ago. And I was trying not to ramble. I was just trying to kind of get my words across. And I was struggling because I was under pressure, because I was in an environment where I was dealing with, you know, the police, and the police were kind of setting off my like stress levels and just making me feel really anxious, just because there's just something really intimidating sometimes about the police, depending on the type of people that they are. I don't know how to explain it. When they put me under pressure, I was just rambling even more after that, and an anxious mess, and I wasn't relaxed at all. I was just panicking like all over the place. But stick me in a room full of people, cover me in paint, and put Rage Against the Machine on, I'll have the time of my life, and I'll forget there's anyone watching. And it's like I'm not scared to embrace myself in that way. It's weird. It's like people wouldn't expect me to be as anxious and as self-critical as I am, because it's like I can temporarily turn it off in a way, and I'm fueled by something else, like something else that I can't even describe, almost like a hidden power to kind of just put all of my anxiety into something else almost. It's really weird. I'm gonna put it here because obviously, like, it depends. It genuinely depends. You do not usually initiate conversations. No, I'm pretty good at initiating conversation, even with strangers, which is quite bizarre. Again, my mood can affect this. If I'm not really feeling sociable, then I'm not gonna interact with strangers or initiate conversation. But 9 times out of 10, I find it pretty easy to just talk to anybody, because yeah, I'm a chatty person even when I'm anxious, and that's my problem, because then I'll just ramble. Just blah, 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 blah. I'd say that I do usually initiate conversations. Went off! I had to put a different memory card in. You rarely do something just out of sheer curiosity. I wouldn't say that that's a rarity, because when you're an artist, you naturally experiment pretty much all of the time, and you're naturally quite curious, and you want to turn everything on its head. And I'm one of those people that likes to look at everything. When I look at something, I look at it from every single angle, you know what I mean? I've been a very curious person ever since I was a child, so then naturally, as you get older and you get the options to kind of act on the sheer curiosity, then it's like my curiosity has got me into a lot of good situations in my life as well. Like, there's all sorts of things. I'd say that it's more of a rarity now, but in a weird way. Like I said, I'm always experimenting with my art, so disagree. You feel superior to other people. I strongly disagree with that. Massively. I'm going to go all the way down there. Put a little side note on this one too, just to be completely honest with you guys too. Like, I think that genuinely every single person in their life at some point goes through like a battle with their ego and a battle with themselves, in a way where like they'll have a false sense of self and a false sense of ego, which might make them feel temporarily superior in some way, whether that be in a skill or the craft, or with like a hobby or knowledge, like knowing a lot about a certain topic. You know, I think that everybody's kind of got that side to them at some point in their life. I think that when a lot of us look at this question, you know, we're afraid to answer it honestly, because like our ego inside of us doesn't want to admit, you know, that we've ever felt that sense of superiority over another human being. But I think that it's natural. Like, I genuinely think that everybody out there has sort of felt that kind of ego-driven feeling at some point in their life. And I would definitely be lying if I turned around to you guys and said that I've never felt that way. But I've struggled with my confidence for a very, very long time. So when I did feel that way in my life, it was very short-lived, and it was fake, very fake. I wasn't being true to myself. Like, I was trying to kind of fill myself with fake confidence. A massive insecurity of mine is, you know, that I'm not good enough and I'll never be this and I'll never be that because of my past and what I've been through. It's kind of built into me that what I do is never good enough, and it's kind of like I'm very harsh on myself, and I'm an over-perfectionist. I'm very self-critical I'm very self-analytical. Because of this, I'm very hard on myself. So I can't feel superior because I always genuinely feel like I'm the bottom of everyone's shoe. We are all equal, you know? So I feel that everybody that does feel superior than someone else is either going through a little bit of an ego complex problem, you know, or is faking it, or is yet to actually realise that there's a problem inward. I genuinely feel that like it's a very ego-driven question, this, and it's also been put here to kind of trick you. And I know it's been put here to kind of trick us. You know what I mean? Because it also kind of says a lot about what we think about ourselves with how we answer these questions. Being organised is more important to you than being adaptable. No. I think that you have to be adaptable because life is constantly changing, it's unpredictable. You have to constantly adapt. If there's anything that I can tell any of you guys is that you can try to be organised, but sometimes that'll fail because plans fall through. You can't always be 100% organised because this thing called life is unpredictable. And I wish that somebody would have told me a long time ago when I was in school that it was not an easy ride. Other than the things that I had going on at home, other than all of that, when I was in school I thought that if I got good grades it would lead to this and it would lead to that and it would lead to this and it would be easy. It wasn't, and it never is. And life throws hurdles at you. Like, I never expected to graduate from university a few weeks after my operation. You know what I mean? I think actually it was probably about 3 weeks. I don't know. A few weeks after I had life-changing operation because I almost died. I basically had an open appendectomy, for those of you that are new to my channel, because it happened quite a few years ago. There is a video on my channel if you do want to go and look for it, where I spoke about everything that happened and la-da-da-da-da, but I just thought that I'd work my arse off at uni and I'd graduate no problemo, easy peasy with the rest of my class, and at the time with my best friends who were my best friends and blah blah blah. And instead I had the option to, you know, wait and graduate the year afterwards because of what I went through, or I had the option to kind of work through recovery. And in the hospital I remember being off my tits on cocodamol and fucking diamorphine and flipping everything you can think of painkiller wise in and out of the hospital because it took a while for them to figure out what was wrong with me. So I was pretty severely poorly for about a year. Throughout all of that, I could have never been prepared for that. I could have never been 100% organised for that. It didn't matter how much research I did for my dissertation and how good my Harvard referencing was. I was lying in a hospital bed, so I had to adapt to my circumstances and try my hardest. Because of this, it's kind of taught me, you know, that if you really, really want something in life and you really want to be successful, you have to adapt. You constantly have to adapt to your circumstances because life is constantly changing around you. Like, nothing ever stops the clock from ticking. I could talk about this subject all day. Definitely more important to be adaptable. I do think it's important to be organised, but if I sort of have to kind of pick one or the other, I'm going to pick adaptable just because of the experiences that I've been through. I'd be lying to myself if I thought that it was more important to be organised because you can never be 100% prepared, and I'll tell you that right now, for anything and everything that happens in your life. You are usually highly motivated and energetic. Yeah, I'm going to agree, but I'm not going to 100% agree because obviously, like, with me, I'm mainly quite a alert person in a way where I speak really, really fast and I'm constantly kind of manic more so than anything else. I'll crash, but it's because I'm constantly on the go. It's very difficult because I've got a very fast brain. So because of this fast brain that I've got, I constantly need to be doing a million trillion things at once, and I can't really sit still for too long. I constantly have to be doing something. Sometimes I have to really tire myself out in order to actually sleep. It's like my body was not built to sleep, but then when I do sleep, it's like I don't feel like I've got enough sleep almost all of the time. It's really frustrating. At one point I had really, really bad insomnia as well because I just couldn't sleep no matter what I did and I couldn't push myself to sleep. I would definitely say that I'm a pretty motivated person and I am pretty energetic as well, but right now when I'm filming this, I'm a little bit sleepy, but I can't sleep. Winning a debate matters less to you than making sure no one gets upset. I don't know why they've had to word it in such a funny way, but no, I'd rather lose the debate so that I don't upset the person. You often feel as if you have to justify yourself to people. Agree, strongly, all the time. I'm constantly explaining myself. It's bad, to be honest. It's like I go through these phases where like I'll shut off, you won't get anything from me. The complete opposite of my personality. It comes out every once in a while. Nothing. I shut off. Normally during quite confrontational situations, I'll just shut off, and then that's when I'll feel like less of a need to justify myself to the person, and I won't want to explain myself because instead I'll just be full of anxiety. I do often feel the need to explain myself ever since I was a kid as well, because of the way that I was brought up and stuff that happened in my childhood. What I was doing was never good enough. I always felt the need to justify my failures. Sometimes I feel like I have to sort of justify my decision making, why I feel like this is best and that is best, and people are constantly putting a lot of pressure on me as well. Like I've been around a lot of people that put pressure on me in my life, so I've always felt the need to overly explain myself, so I'd definitely say that that's the right answer for that one. Your home and work environments are quite tidy. I'm sat in the messiest room in the house because literally every other room is currently tidy. It's like my office always gets the messiest because I end up with all of my makeup scattered around the desk. SD card, hair stuff, there's a cup, glasses, hair dye, straighteners, my phone, and a pack of wipes and my laptop. It's a little bit messy, but once I start cleaning, I find it hard to stop. Very hard to stop. I'm pretty much addicted getting things perfect in the way that I like them, and then when it gets messy again, I get really frustrated on the inside, and then like I'm looking at it and it's annoying me and I have to clean it and I have to do it right now. It's like, grrr, like that's how I get. I kind of just get very need to clean, so I'm not going to turn around and say like 100% because I'm not like the cleanest person in the entire world, but I do get quite hands-on, like literally to the point where I'll overwork myself to get like a tiny stain out of something that nobody else can see, but I can see it. It's there and it's bothering me and it needs to go. You do not mind being at the center of attention. I neither agree or disagree with that. Oh yeah, it does let you click in the middle. Oh fuck. So this entire time I thought it wasn't giving me that as an option, but it does actually give you that as an option. So I'm going to put that in the middle basically because depending on my mood depends whether or not I can be asked with being the centre of attention, which is quite funny because people say that Leo is constantly want to be the centre of attention. You know, I want constant praise, and I'm not like that at all. Like, if anything, I'm more of a closeted Leo. I think that I was more of a central Leo when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like, in my youth. I feel like the older I've got, the less attention that I want. I know that sounds really weird because I've got bright yellow hair right now, and that kind of screams give me attention to a lot of people, but that's not why I've got yellow hair. I'm not going to ramble too much because I'm only a quarter of the way there, and I thought that I would have been halfway by now, and I'm not. You consider yourself more practical than creative. Disagree. I would definitely say that I'm definitely more creative. I'm going to strongly disagree with that as well because I'm probably not the most practical person. I have to force myself to be practical. I've had to teach myself to be practical. I wish I was more practical than I am. I need to get more practical, even more practical than I've already become. People can rarely upset you. Dang. Dang. Can I click that? Can I click that 10 times? No, apparently I can't. Yeah, I'm very sensitive. Shock, shock, horror.
Shock, shock, horror, horror, shock, shock, horror.
Does anyone remember that song? Your travel plans are usually well thought out. Yes, I'm going to agree with that, but I'm not going to like agree with it to like the biggest extent because they could probably be even more well thought out. See what I mean? I'm very overly critical even about how I'm answering these questions. It is often difficult for you to relate to other people's feelings. Disagree. Ding. Horrible thing too, because if you're the one that's hurt someone, for example, you feel it in a completely different way. It's like you're hurting yourself at the same time if you hurt somebody. You know what I mean? Like, say for example, if you used to go, hey, dickhead, you're a dickhead. If I go over to you and I say, you're a dickhead, and it really upsets you, I'll genuinely feel that, like instantly. Like, I'll be able to tell by your reaction if it's hurt you, and that'll just instantly crush me, and then I'll feel like an absolute dickhead. And then I'll probably think about that 10 years to come after that incident. When I walk past homeless people, sometimes I just get full of like emotion. I just want to cry. Also, when I read articles, if it involves children, like vulnerable children in horrible circumstances, I'll cry. Like, I get very emotional, and if I read things about people that are just really awful, it hurts me like really deeply. Genuinely, like, I can sit in a room full of people and I'll know if someone's stressed or pissed off or hurt or overthinking in a really bad place. It's like I'll just pick up on it, and people will just come over to me and speak to me like just openly about how they're feeling, like randomly out of nowhere, like strangers as well. Your mood can change very quickly. I'd say yeah, it can. Go on then. Be honest with yourself, Jess. It can change really goddamn quickly. In a discussion, truth should be more important than people's sensitivities. Oh god, this is a hard one because years ago, I was the type of person that believed you should always speak the truth in a way where, even if it's blunt and it's hurtful, you need to just say it. And I know this sounds really bad. I used to genuinely like believe that the truth had to hurt or it wasn't the truth. And I know that's really weird, but my mum actually brought me up in such a way where, like, if it wasn't for my dad, I would be a messed up person, genuinely. Like, my dad saved the flipping day there. My dad saved the day when it came to me. I was always quite a sensitive person and a very sensitive child, and my mum would be really like belittling towards me and say some really horrible things to me, like very hurtful things towards me. When it hurt me, she'd say, you know, the truth hurts. When I cry, she'd tell me, you know, you're too sensitive. And that's something that really fucked with my head. So for many years to come after that, I believed the right way to be was to just be blunt, just say it how it was, no filter, not necessarily being careful with how I was wording things or thinking before I spoke almost to a certain degree. Like, it wasn't good. It was years ago. Like, it was a long time ago. Like, I went through that stage when I was like a kid at one point, and then I remember when I was a little bit older at one point. Personally, I believe if you're in a situation where, you know, you've cheated on your partner, you should tell them the truth. The truth will hurt, but it's for the best. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard one because personally I do think that the truth is definitely more important than people's sensitivities. I think whenever you're telling the truth, you should bear in mind what people are sensitive to and what's triggering to somebody. I'd say tell them the truth and word it in the correct way to that person so that it's not, you know, anxiety fueled. You know, doesn't set them off. Like, I would say tell the truth in the right manner. You don't want to lie to protect someone's feelings. I'm guilty of doing that in the past though, leading someone to believe that you're a dickhead. Yeah, I'm gonna go there for that one. You rarely worry about how your actions affect other people. Disagree. I overanalyze everything. I overanalyze, like, oh my god, I'm still paying for things that like past Jess said. I'm a worrier. I'm constantly worrying about things like that. I need to worry less about that sort of stuff. So self-critical. Your work style is closer to random energy spikes than to a word I can't pronounce and organised approach. Agree. I literally ride my energy to the fucking moon and back 10 times until I'm exhausted if I'm on a roll. You are often envious of others. Disagree. I've never really been an envious person, to be honest. It's just not really in my character. After I had Athena, it's like, what is there to be envious about? I've got this beautiful daughter, like, look how blessed I am, like, what else matters in this world? I'm not really envious of anybody, to be honest. I'm more likely to be proud and join in with someone's success, throwing food at them, taking my bra off and throwing it at them. An interesting book or video game is often better than a social event. Agree strongly. Being able to develop a plan and stick to it is the most important part of every project. To a certain extent, that is pretty goddamn important. If you can't get to the finish line, then you just end up with a bunch of unfinished crap, basically. You rarely get carried away by fantasies and ideas. Oh my god, strongly disagree. I'm constantly getting carried away in my mind. You often find yourself lost in thought when you're walking in nature. Yes, always. I always go into my head. I feel so relaxed in nature. Fresh air, leaves falling, the sun, you know, just kind of piercing through the trees, the grass underneath my feet. You know, I look up at the sky and like I look at the clouds and I just look at my entire environment, and then you've got like your pigeons, and I'm going on a little bit of a tangent now, but if we ignore the rubbish that people have thrown into the beautiful bushes, bottles that have been stuck in the trees and all of that stuff, it's pretty damn nice walking in nature. It's probably why I go into my head a bit, because there's so much rubbish lingering about these days. Seriously, like, just use the bin, please. Why not? It's just there. Keep hold of it till you get to it, or at least put it somewhere where I'm not going to notice it. If someone does not respond to your email quickly, you start worrying if you said something wrong. It's like I used to be this person, like on an extreme extent, like constantly worrying if someone didn't reply straight away, or if someone didn't reply to my email straight away. But then I kind of just grew up and realised that people will not reply to you for reasons like out of your control. If you email someone and they don't reply to you, if it's important to you, email them again, because it shows that it's important to you. If you just kind of leave it, they may have not got the email, or they may have kind of started a draft email and then never got around to sending it because they were never reminded to. There's a variety of different reasons why people wouldn't reply to your email, so it's always good to bear that in mind. I can be quite an anxious person. I'm not going to go all the way here. I'm not going to go all the way to the end, because I know that there's loads of reasons, like justified reasons why people don't reply to your email or take a while to reply to your email. But at the same time, I do worry to a certain extent. Being on YouTube has taught me not to worry if someone takes a long time to reply to your email. As a parent, you would rather see your child grow up kind than smart. Definitely. I would much rather Athena was kind than like the most intelligent child in the world that can play the piano with her feet and the ukulele with her nostrils. Definitely, like, in a world that is so cruel and cold and harsh, someone who is kind and compassionate can suddenly, all of a sudden, make everything so much more easier to digest. You do not let other people influence your actions. This is a hard one because I'm a people pleaser, basically, so this is a really hard one because I feel like the older I've become, the less of a people pleaser I have become, in a way where I've been in a few situations in my life where people have influenced me to act out of the norm just naturally because I've not wanted to stand up for myself and what I truly believed in. So like, I've conformed to their ideal, their idea, and gone along with it, and then just hated myself afterwards and just thought, whoa, why did I even agree with what they said? Like, why did I even agree to that? And then also too, like, I've been in situations situations where people have just like guilt tripped the shit out of me and made me feel awful to the point where they've heavily influenced me in a manipulative way, and it's just been not good. It depends on my mood. If I'm particularly in that mood where I'm feeling quite, you know, downward and depressed and inward, it's dangerous because I could be quite heavily influenced in the way where I'm very easily manipulated when I'm depressed. If I'm depressed, you could tell me, you know, Athena hates my flipping guts, and I'd probably believe you temporarily. Well, it's Athena, so maybe not, but our state of mind has so much to do with things. Right now, no way, no way. Do not let anybody influence me at all. But at the same time, it's like people that I love, you know, they influence my decisions, like, and Athena strongly influences my decisions. If she influences my decisions, she influences my actions. So it's like I sort of have to still stay around about there. Yeah, I'm gonna stay there. Because I have to let Athena influence my actions, but at the same time, I don't let anybody influence me in a bad way. Like, not anymore. I definitely learned my lesson years and years and years and years ago. Like, people have taken the piss out of me far too many times. I don't let anyone influence my actions now. No way. Especially in the past 2 years, I've been heavily manipulated by people, so I'm gonna go there because I still have to kind of keep Athena in mind. That's why I don't want to go all the way there. I don't even know if I'm answering these correctly. Your dreams tend to focus on the real world and its events. Neutral. It does not take you much time to start getting involved in social activities at your new workplace. You're more of a natural improviser than a careful planner. I don't know, I'm both, like, in a weird way. Like, I'll try to plan things, but I always do end up improvising in the end and then just kind of rushing about. So yeah, I'd probably say I'm about there. Your emotions control you more than you control them. Oh my god, I hate this one so much. I'm learning to control this. Like, this is all part of, like, you know, what therapy is supposed to help with. Like, me controlling my emotions, because I either shut them off completely or I'm just like overly emotional. It's kind of rare that I'm in between. Like, people think that I'm a very calm, collected person. I don't know where they get this idea from. I'm batshit cray-cray. My emotions, they do heavily control me, but at the same time too, I feel like I've got a lot more control over my emotions. Like, say for example, like if I'm in a situation where someone's pissed me off, I've got enough control over my emotions not to kind of go mental at them and belittle them and make them feel like shit and be like, rah rah rah, you just hurt my feelings, rah rah rah. Like, I'm not that type of person. If somebody was to say, let's insert something triggering here that, you know, would trigger my PTSD, something really bad, and then really bad confrontation, emotions overwhelmed to the extent where I cannot control them, panic attack time. My emotions do heavily like control me. Naturally, because of my mental health, my mood, it changes in a way where I have no choice but to be controlled by my emotions because I'm controlled by my mood. So it's all about putting myself in the right, you know, frame of mind so that I'm in control of my emotions. And I think that I've got pretty good at controlling my emotions, especially in the past, let's say about 6 months to a year. I don't know, I've just changed a lot. Like, I'm just not the same person I was years ago. At the same time, I'm still heavily affected by things that I've been through. That's what therapy is supposed to help with. I'm not going to go all the way over here because I feel like I have progressed to a certain extent. I think I'll always stay around about here because naturally I'm just a very emotional person and I don't think I'll ever escape that. I'll just get a better grasp at dealing with it. You enjoy going to social events that involve dress up or role play activities. That just sounds fun. Like, yeah, hell's yeah, I'll dress up somewhere. Like, I'm guessing that means cosplay and stuff like that. Like, I've never actually gone and done any of that. Like, I've never been to a cosplay convention or anything like that, but it's not necessarily something that I would avoid. It all sounds fun to me. I like to, you know, live in an alternate reality for a while, so hell yeah, let's go there. You often spend time exploring unrealistic and impractical, yet intriguing ideas all the time. I'm constantly setting myself really weird and obscure challenges, and then a lot of the time I have unrealistic expectations, so I've got to work with what I've got. So that's how I kind of push myself to just create things, because I'll work with what I've got, and it's like if I had more things to work with, I could create cooler things and better things. I genuinely do believe that nothing is completely undoable. Like, genuinely, like I said, I'm a very curious person. You would rather improvise than spend time coming up with a detailed plan. I quite enjoy planning to a certain extent. This is the thing, like, I like my bullet points and I like writing my notes and things like that. I've got scraps of paper, like random things written on them. Like, before I go shopping for my food, sometimes I'll write a little rough list, but then sometimes I'll just rush in there and just kind of wing it. I feel like when you put so much time and effort into a truly detailed plan, it takes a lot of the fun out of it. So I'd probably go about there, but at the same time, it's not like I don't enjoy planning things. Does anything actually feel better though than a detailed plan actually being successful? It's so rare that a detailed plan is like 100% successful, but I'm like the most unorganized person ever. Like, I always get there in the end. You are a relatively reserved and quiet person. I feel like the older I've got, the more reserved and quiet I've become, but at the same time, I'm still batshit cray-cray. I'm saying that a lot, batshit cray-cray. I am quite crazy, but I have become calmer. I've got yellow hair. I'm not reserved. I'm speaking on the internet to people. Fucking shut up, Jess. If you had a business, you would find it very difficult to fire loyal but underperforming employees. Oh my god, like that would be just so awkward for me. I would feel terrible. Like I wouldn't enjoy that power. Like some people love that. Like some people love to just be like poof poof. Oh, you're hired. Oh, you're fired. Do 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 do. Puppet strings and all that. Like I'd hate that. Like I would be that person to keep them on. Right, I've got to cut your pay and give you less hours, but you're not losing your job. And they'll be like, this is a little bit weird. I'll be like, just to give you something. And then I'll be like, right, okay, so now maybe if I can just cut corners somehow, we'll like get rid of the office water machine to cut the water bill down a little bit, so you know we can keep Fred's job. I'm that type of person that would just feel really, really bad. I'd start thinking about his family and his bills and his mortgage, and you know, Linda, the person he's been having an affair with, and now his wife's gonna get really angry because he's lost his job, and like, you know, all of that stuff basically. I'd be like proper just coming up with this entire script in my head, when really like it's just, you know, Bill the hamster waiting at home in his settee in his studio apartment. There's no kids, but don't want to sack you, mate. I don't want to sack you. You often contemplate the reasons for human existence all the time. Every single day I think about it. I don't think it's healthy. Like I genuinely think about it every single day. Logic is usually more important than heart when it comes to making important decisions. Oh my god, everybody tells me this, that logic is more important, but I genuinely think if your heart's not in it, there's no point. In life, like as somebody who struggled with depression and someone who struggled, you know, like I've struggled with a lot of things in my life. The only thing that's keeping me here really is my heart. My heart is walking on the outside of my body in the form of a 2.5-year-old little girl at the moment. So that's my motivation to live. I feel like it's my heart that's more in control of me as opposed to kind of my brain. But I would definitely say when it comes to important decisions, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and sometimes you have to kind of put your emotions to the side because it's going to be better for you in the long run. I think this is incredibly important. I'm just one of those people that finds it really hard to pick my head over my heart because I'm a very emotional person in the way where I become quite attached to people. Logic is usually more important than the heart, but at the same time, like I can't live that way and I don't live that way. So if I don't live that way, it means I don't agree with it because I'm not living that way. So I'm going to strongly disagree with that one because for me, you know, I don't live that way. Everything is fueled by my heart as opposed to like logic in a weird way. Look at my YouTube channel. Like if I'd uploaded every single day the amount of time I've had a YouTube channel, I would probably have tons of subscribers. Consistency alone, like consistency helps you a lot on YouTube, but I've not been consistent at all because my heart's not in making a particular video or sharing a particular video. I won't share it even though it'd probably be better for my channel to be consistent. I'm that type of person that would rather not be consistent and be like proud of what I'm making or have my heart in the content that I'm making. So I do genuinely feel like it's more important to kind of feel fulfilled in here, but also always try and think with your head because at the end of the day, I think they go together. It's so important to think with them both and use them both. But like in this, with important decisions, if your heart's not in it, you're going to regret it, I promise you. Keeping your options open is more important than having a to-do list. I'm going to disagree with that. I'm actually going to strongly disagree with that. Even though I do feel like you should always kind of bear in mind that life is unpredictable. Because life is unpredictable, we have to be adaptable. Like I said in one of the previous answers, we are technically always keeping our options open, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's more important to have a to-do list. I have a to-do list on the go constantly. Like, and I was saying like, I don't like to be organized, but it's a very kind of messy to-do list. Like I don't do it in order. I just put it there so that I remember, so I don't put it off and forget about it basically. I have this app on my phone and it makes the noise of a pencil crossing it out. That alone is enough to entice me in to kind of get through my to-do list of all of my chores and everything else that I've got to do because it's just like, hearing that scribble is so satisfying. I could just do it with a normal piece of paper and instead I'm doing it with an app. If you don't have a to-do list, how can you really kind of stay on top of your productivity in a way? Like you should always have a mental to-do list, at least if you don't have a visual one. If your friend is sad about something, you are more likely to offer emotional support than suggest ways to deal with the problem. I'm more likely to offer the emotional support first and then offer ways to deal with the problem. I'm a very good problem solver for other people, but I'm terrible at solving problems for myself. Person that gives the great advice, but is really shitty at taking her own advice. That's me pretty much. But I am more likely to offer emotional support. I've kind of explained myself as not being super practical. I am still practical to a certain extent. I am really good at like solving everyone's problems and then getting them to look at it from a different perspective. But at the same time, is this trying to say that you're fobbing them off just like oh, they're there, everything's going to be fine, you know. I'm staying in the middle because I think I do both. You rarely feel insecure, disagree. Fucking hell, I'm a very insecure person. But at the same time, I don't know, I've become more confident in a way where I'm more confident in myself. I have a better relationship with myself and the person that I am than I did years and years ago. So to be honest, I'm not going to strongly disagree. I'm going to put myself there because I think that I've improved. And because I've improved, I don't deserve to go all the way there. I've improved, god damn it. I'm there now. But I definitely still feel pretty goddamn insecure. You have no difficulties coming up with a personal timetable and sticking to it. Fuck my life. I'm going to strongly disagree with this. It's very difficult for me to stick to a timetable, and I try my very, 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 very best. Very, 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 very best. Like, and I find it incredibly difficult. But at the same time too, having a kid has changed me so much, so I'm going to go there because it has improved. I can stick to Athena's timetable like a motherfucker. Sticking to my own is difficult. For example, it's like 3:59 now in the morning when I'm filming this. I've got a pocket of time to film this, so I have to make the most of my time. So it's like my timetable is interchangeable with the fact that I have to sort of work around Athena and I have to work around everything else. So the fact that I'm filming in like the depth of the early morning, it says a lot. I can't really stick to a timetable because I've constantly got to, you know, work around other people. So years ago, you know, when I was in uni, it's like I often struggled like with the uni timetable. I was always rolling like into class late, like all the time. And it's like I've never been able to sneak into like a seminar or anything either, like, or sneak into a lecture because I've always had bright hair too. So it's just like I'm asking to be kind of laughed at and looked at, and I've always kind of just put my head down and been like, late again. Being right is more important than being cooperative when it comes to teamwork. Disagree strongly. Like, I hate people like that. I hate it like when you're trying to get some shit done and there's one person that's like, oh, I know how to do this. This is the best way to do it. But then instead of just kind of like showing the group sort of how to do it and then everybody kind of doing it together, like they take the initiative to do it on their own, but they're wrong about what they're doing. And then somebody speaks up and they're like, hey, I've got a better way to, and they're like, no, shut up. Like, no, but I've got a better way to go about it. Look, I found this manual that shows us a step-by-step way to do this, like, and fix it. And they're like, fuck that. No. They're like, take that, cotton bud. No, take that. Take that. Those type of people. I'm gonna have to clean that up. You think that everyone's views should be respected regardless of whether they are supported by facts or not. Agree, 100%. Even though like I'm a factual person and I'm one of those people that, you know, that kind of feels like I need solid evidence in order to kind of believe something. And like I'm very open-minded. Like I think that people's views should always be respected, whether or not you feel or believe they're invalid, because at the end of the day, you only got your perception, not somebody else's perception of the world. So you should always respect that, no matter what your beliefs are. Because at the end of the day, you know, we're all sharing this goddamn planet together, so don't be a cunt. Simple. You feel more energetic after spending time with a group of people? No, not necessarily. I would say that I normally feel quite exhausted after being around a large group of people, and I think that's probably because I'm absorbing a lot of like what's going on around me. But at the same time, it's like if I'm around a bunch of really energetic people and, you know, like having a really good time, I tend to leave that situation happy and fueled with energy. I'm gonna go there because at the end of the day, it does depend still. I'm just kind of clearing it up for you guys. You frequently misplace your things. I'm always flipping misplacing everything. You see yourself as very emotionally stable. This is difficult because it's like I see myself as very emotionally stable to a certain degree. It's difficult because what is an emotionally stable person? Because it's quite hard to actually tell. Like I wouldn't say that I'm incredibly emotionally unstable or anything like that. I would say deep down at the root core of my being, I am emotionally unstable to a certain degree because of what's happened to me, and that's why I need therapy to kind of get that stability back. I'm probably not the most emotionally stable person on the planet, but at the same time, it's like I'm more emotionally stable than I used to be. I don't know. Right, I'm gonna go there. Your mind is always buzzing with unexplored ideas and plans. Agree. Heavily agree. You would not call yourself a dreamer. I strongly disagree with that.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
You usually find it difficult to relax when talking in front of many people. Depends on my mood, so I have to go in the middle. Because like I said, if I'm feeling anxious and I'm feeling kind of inward, then I just really wouldn't want to be doing that. But then if I'm kind of just like in my own spirit, in myself, feeling kind of carefree, then you could put me in front of like tons of people and I would not care. Because again, I would wear this magical cloak that I seem to own, that I could put myself in really fearless situations and just take myself out of myself in a really weird way. Generally speaking, you rely more on your experience than your imagination. Yeah, to a certain degree. Kind of always think on my experiences to get me through. Can get through this and get through that. I don't know. I'm gonna go there. You worry too much about what other people think. Yeah, but I don't really care as much as I used to. I used to care a lot more, whereas now I don't care anywhere near as much. But at the same time, I'm gonna go there. If the room is full, you stay closer to the walls, avoiding the center. I'm gonna go there because it depends on the type of room. You have a tendency to procrastinate until there is not enough time to do everything. My time management has definitely got better over the years. ideas. I do tend to leave a lot of things till last minute and then rush around, but I have got better with my time management. So I'm like fucking King Kong of procrastination land. Okay, I'm gonna go there. You feel very anxious in stressful situations. Agree. I get very anxious in stressful situations, especially confrontational situations or anything that's triggering, like for my post-traumatic stress disorder, like anything that can bring any of that back gets to me. You believe that it is more rewarding to be liked by others than to be powerful. Agree. I heavily agree with this. A lot of people would probably disagree with me on this. I think it says a lot about you, like the amount of people that like you and the amount of people that dislike you, because if you've got more people that like you, it says a lot about you as a person, doesn't it? Because you're more likely to get on with people because there's more people that like you, you know, they like your personality, like being around you, you know, rather than people thinking that you're a knobhead. Like, would you rather be like the most powerful man in the world, but everybody hates you, they can't stand you, they don't even want to look at you in the street, they'd spit on you if they could, they'd knock you out? Or would you rather be like, you know, pretty goddamn poor, but you feel rich because you're loved by everybody around you? I'd much rather be liked than powerful. Strange really, because years and years and years ago, I probably would have picked powerful over being liked. Genuinely, like, if you'd asked me when I was a kid, would you rather be liked or powerful? I'd go powerful. Fuck being liked, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I need to get a little bit more of that attitude again, I think. You've always been interested in unconventional and ambiguous things, e.g. books, art, movies. Agree. You often take initiative in social situations. Depending on my mood and my circumstances and my environment, I'd say that I'm pretty good at taking initiative in social situations, but I'm not amazing at taking initiative in social situations because at the same time, I can be quite like awkward, you know, depending on my mood and how I'm feeling and who I'm around.
Can anybody guess?
I'm a campaigner, apparently. Okay, let's have a look. So I am ENFPT. This trait determines how we interact with our environment. Apparently, I'm 58% extroverted and 42% introverted. That is like insane. That's crazy, that, because it's like almost half between both. I'm slightly more extroverted than introverted, apparently. 83% intuitive and 17% observant. That sounds about right. 11% thinking and 89% feeling. I'm all about the emotions. I'm a very emotional person. 36% judging, 64% prospecting. That's funny. 31% assertive, 69% turbulent. What? It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dreams, for the adventure of being alive. I like it. The campaigner personality is a true free spirit. They are often the life of the party, but unlike types in the Explorer role group, campaigners are less interested in the sheer excitement and pleasure of the moment than they are in enjoying the social and emotional connections they make with others. Charming, independent, energetic and compassionate, the 7% of the population that they comprise can certainly be felt in any crowd. You can change the world with just an idea. More than just sociable people pleasers. No way. I said that I was a people pleaser, and look what it says. It says that I'm a people pleaser. Even the quiz knows I'm a people pleaser. Even the quiz knows. More than just sociable people pleasers though, campaigners, like all of their diplomat cousins, are shaped by their intuitive quality, allowing them to read between the lines with curiosity and energy. They tend to see life as a big complex puzzle where everything is connected, but unlike analyst personality types who tend to see that puzzle as a series of systematic I can't speak, guys. It's so early in the morning, so forgive me for reading this all over the place. Campaigners see it through a prism of emotion, compassion, and mysticism, and are always looking for a deeper meaning. Yeah, that's me all over, like, that just sounds so much like me. Campaigners are fiercely independent and much more than stability and security. They crave creativity and freedom. Oh my god, yeah, that's me to a T. Many other types are likely to find these qualities irresistible, and if they've found a cause that sparks their imagination, campaigners will bring that energy that oftentimes thrusts them into the spotlight, held up by their peers as a leader and a guru. But this isn't always where independence-loving campaigners want to be. Campaigners' self-esteem is dependent on their ability to come up with original solutions. They can quickly lose patience or become dejected if they get trapped in a boring role. Yeah, that does. It sounds like me all over. Oh my god, that's so much easier. Well, now I can read. I'm a fucking idiot. Luckily, campaigners know how to relax, and they are perfectly capable of switching from a passionate, driven, idealistic in the workplace to that imaginative and enthusiastic free spirit on the dance floor, often with a suddenness that can surprise even their closest friends. This is is what I was trying to explain when I was answering the questions. That's so weird how it's kind of explained that in my answers. Being in this mix also gives them a chance to connect emotionally with others, giving them cherished insight into what motivates their friends and colleagues. They believe that everyone should take time to recognise and express their feelings, and that empathy and sociability make that a natural conversation topic. That is so true. The campaigner personality type needs to be careful, however, if they rely too much on their intuition, assume or anticipate too much about friends' motivations. They can misread the signals and frustrate plans that are a more straightforward approach, which would have been more simple. Campaigners are very emotional and sensitive, and when they step on someone's toes, they both feel it. I also explained that, didn't I? That's mental. Campaigners will spend a lot of time exploring social relationships, feelings, and ideas before they find something that they really ring true. But when they do finally find their place in the world, their imagination, empathy, and courage are likely to produce incredible results. Campaigners you may know: Robert Downey Jr., Will Smith, yes, I got Will Smith. There's my bae. Robin Williams, mint. I'm like a 10-year-old when I'm saying mint all over again. Drew Barrymore. Russell Brand, no way. Quentin Tarantino, sick. Kelly Clarkson, since you've been gone. Michael Scott from The Office. That's amazing. I'm Michael Scott from The Office. Quite clearly, I've got the best personality type here. Or the most worrying. Piper Chapman from Orange is the New Black. No way. How the hell did they figure this out? How do they figure out what kind of personality types these characters have? That's mental. Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Time is a precious thing. Never waste it.
I'm not complaining.
Where is fancy bread? In the heart or in the head?
I got some pretty badass people. Campaigner strengths. Curious. When it comes to new ideas, campaigners aren't interested in brooding. They want to go out and experience things and don't hesitate to step out of their comfort zones to do so. Campaigners are imaginative and open-minded, seeing all things as a big mysterious puzzle called life, which is what I spoke about while I was answering the questions, which is really weird. Observant, energetic and enthusiastic, excellent communicators, know how to relax, very popular and friendly. Campaigner weaknesses. Poor practical skills, find it difficult to focus, overthink things. Campaigners don't take things at face value, they look for underlying motives, even the simplest things. It's so true. It's not uncommon for campaigners to lose a bit of sleep asking themselves why someone did what they did, what it meant, and what to do about it. Oh my god, like, yeah, that's me. Get stressed easily. All this overthinking isn't just for their own benefit. Campaigners, especially turbulent ones, are very sensitive and care deeply about other people's feelings. Highly emotional. While emotional expression is healthy and natural, with campaigners even viewing it as a core part of their identity, it can come out strongly enough to cause problems to this personality type, particularly when under stress, criticism, or conflict. Campaigners can experience emotional bursts that are counterproductive at best. Independent to a fault, campaigners loathe being micromanaged and restrained by heavy-handed rules. Romantic relationships. Dun, 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 dun. When it comes to relationships, there's hardly anyone around who is more excited than campaigners to share with their partners the bounty of ideas and eye-opening experiences that life has to offer. For people with the campaigner personality type, relationships are a joyous process of mutual exploration and imagination, a chance to connect with another soul. Campaigners take their relationships seriously. Campaigners have the advantage of irresistible charm when it comes to attracting a partner. Campaigners' warmth, excitement, and passion are simply alluring. So you think you know the real me? This is so scarily accurate. Like, campaigners go all in with their relationships, and if they fall apart despite their efforts, they can end up plagued with questions about why the relationship failed and what they could have done differently. That's so me. Wow. And it affects the campaigner's self-esteem as they sink into depression. So true. It's important for campaigner personalities, as with anyone, to remember that relationships are in all ways mutual interest, mutual growth, and mutual responsibility, and they can't be solely accountable. That is so true. Like, after a trial like this, campaigners may be reluctant to open up and commit, and it can take years for a partner to navigate their bewildering depth and intensity, falsely believing that campaigners' enthusiasm and apparent openness means that they wear everything on their sleeves. The reality is that campaigners' spontaneity, the seeming inconsistency and erraticism the untrained eye sees, isn't a product of flightiness and lack of depth, but the opposite. Oh my god, this is so me. Friendships. As friends, campaigners are cheerful and supportive, always sharing and developing ideas and staying open-minded, taking in others' thoughts and feelings. The warmth and sincerity makes people with the campaigner personality type masters of drawing people out of their shells, and as a result, they tend to have a huge circle of friends. As with other relationships, campaigners view their friendships as opportunities to experience another angle of the universe and tend to imbue potential friendships with that waiting idealistic quality. More outgoing types will naturally gravitate towards them, but campaigners will also go to great lengths and be surprisingly persistent in their efforts to get to know more reserved personalities. That's so true because, like, I had a friend who I'm not friends with anymore who was very reserved and inward and to themselves, and I did everything, like, I went out of my way to try and kind of bring them out of the shell. I didn't want to disturb their comfort zone and make them feel uncomfortable. Like, I wasn't trying to kind of put them in a really difficult position with their anxiety, but I wanted them to have more, life experience and live life to the fullest, and I could kind of see that their anxiety was getting in the way of them, having more life experience and kind of getting out there more. So I kind of went out of my way to try and get that person to, like, have more experiences. It was better for them, like, in that way, that they actually got out a little bit more because they started to become a bit more confident within themselves as well. So it's just mad that it says that. But campaigners' interest in others can be a double-edged sword. This pure idealism comes with certain expectations, and too often campaigners hold their friends in an unrealistic light, expecting them to keep up with the constant flow of ideas and experiences that they consider integral to life. Campaigners put their whole hearts into friendships, and it can come as a shock for them to find that their friends aren't the flawless titans that they believe them to be. Whether it's simple social fatigue or focus on the physical and the practical instead of the mystical, people with the campaigner personality type can find themselves disappointed by what they see as a lack of substance beneath the surface. Campaigners tend to get deeply involved in other people's lives, going to great lengths and efforts to be the selfless, caring and supportive people that they are, and all the while forget to take care of themselves. This is so me, both in terms of basic needs like financial stability and rest, as well as more emotional needs like mutual understanding and reciprocation. Campaigner personalities tend to give much more of themselves than most are even capable of giving back. This sort of imbalance isn't as sustainable as seemingly one-sided generosity often leads to criticism and resentment on both sides. Luckily, campaigners are open-minded and sincere enough in their friendships and connect with and understand even their acquaintances well enough that they can recognise that not everyone expresses themselves in the same ways, and that's okay. Their sensitivity may make it too challenging to play with more crucial, critical and argumentative personalities such as strongly expressed thinking and judging types, but they do appreciate, even cherish the company of most anyone who appreciates theirs. Parenthood, this one will be interesting. If there is anything that makes campaigners great parents, it's their sense of wonder that they have for all things new and beautiful, a sense that they will be able to share with their children every day as they learn and grow. I love this already. Throughout their children's lives, campaigners provide a combination of almost overwhelming love and support and an unstructured environment revolving around freedom and creativity. This in no way means that people with the campaigner personality type will simply leave their children to their own devices without guidance. Rather, campaigner parents want to share in their children's perspective, sharing a world without bounds. Campaigner parents are playful and warm and love to see their children excited, playing and experimenting with the world around them. Campaigners will find that their children have developed a strong sense of self and self-worth, going confidently out into the big wide world at their own pace and in their own style, knowing that they have both themselves and their campaigner parents to depend on. That's perfect for me. That makes me so happy because genuinely that's like all I could ever want. My dream right there, like that's all I could ever want, and it's just summed it up in a paragraph and it made me feel dead emotional. Tears in my eyes reading that because it was so accurate. Got to me. Proper got to me. Yeah, we're almost done, finally, because like it's getting late and I can't even believe I'm still reading this. Okay, so careers. Can't I fly helicopters and be an oceanographer who writes songs and cooks? That's so me. It's a big world out there, perhaps even a little bit too big. Campaigners are fascinated by new ideas, both in terms of developments in fields they're already familiar with, and when new subjects come along, the trick for people with a campaigner personality type is to take advantage of this quality. Campaigner personality. Conclusion. Your personality types are as creative and as charismatic as campaigners. Known for their idealism and enthusiasm, campaigners are good at dealing with unexpected challenges and brightening the lives of those around them. Campaigners' imagination is invaluable in many areas, including their own personal growth. Yet campaigners can be easily tripped in areas where idealism and kindness are more of a liability than an asset. In our premium profile, you'll get all of this stuff. I've rambled on for long enough. This video is probably going to be about an hour long. It's going to be a ball ache to edit, so hi Jess in the editing process. I'm sorry about this. Let's just hope everything's in focus and it wasn't entirely pointless. That's about it. I feel like that was pretty accurate, to be honest. So if you've taken this test, which you more than likely already have, about a year ago when everybody was doing it, because I'm late to the game as usual, let me know down below what your personality type is. It described me to a T. I'm rambling still when I could have ended this video already, so goodbye. Good night.
Candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker.